Alright chaps, it's game week 13 in the Championship and we are heading into a 3-game week, so the games are going to come thick and fast over these next 7 or so days. As always, I want to hear from you in the comments down below. How do you see these matches going? Drop a like if you're going to enjoy, but without any further ado, let's jump in. So starting out on Friday night, we're heading to the racecourse for Wrexham up against Coventry, and Coventry really are the team to beat in the Championship at this moment in time. Now, to be fair, I did think there was a bit of vulnerability on show in their last game against Watford. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still scored 3 goals and looked really good going forward, but at the opposite end of the pitch, Watford did get a bit of joy against them, and had it not been for Cole Rushworth in that game, Watford could have got something from that one. So just thinking about Wrexham and the attacking threat that they'll bring into this game, you can get at this Coventry side. It's just that they pack such a punch going forward that it's tough to back against them right now. Wrexham, to be fair, are unbeaten in their last 3 home league matches. We're also in action in midweek in the Cup as well against Cardiff, so Coventry potentially will be a little bit more well rested for this one. I can see both sides scoring. I'm just going to go with the form of Coventry to swing this one. Don't think it'll be a walk in the park, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win, which would keep the winning streak going for Cov. Next up to the King Power for Leicester up against Blackburn. It's back-to-back defeats for Leicester on the road, and a bit of pressure piling on Martí Cifuentes. It's now just 1 win in their last 8 matches. Leicester have been so draw-heavy this season, still unbeaten at home, but 3 of their 5 home games so far this season have ended as draws. For Blackburn, it was an absolutely massive result over the weekend to have that late turnaround against Southampton. For Rovers, it's obviously been a less than ideal start to the season. Going into that game against Southampton, they'd lost 4 of their last 5 matches, but a good turnaround late on in that game for Johnson to get off the mark with his first goal as well for the club is quite big going forward. This feels like a low margin game where the first goal will be really decisive. Leicester just haven't been firing on all cylinders, but I think maybe just about sneak this one. A draw wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going to go 1-0 Leicester in that game. Next up to Carrow Road for Norwich City up against Hull, and Liam Manning is still in a job. It feels like the Norwich board maybe going to reassess their options at this next international break. We've got this next batch of 3 matches, but if Norwich is still in their bottom 3 come that next international break, I just can't envisage a world where he's still the Norwich boss. 5 games at home so far this season, all 5 games have been losses, and Hull City aren't the sort of opponents that you want to be coming up against right now. They look quick and dynamic going forward. While I still think they've got a mistake in them at the back, I think they have been improving in that department over these last few weeks. And they're coming into this game as the form side. They're unbeaten in their last 5 matches. So far this season, Norwich have only really had their away form to cling on to, but even that's dried up as of late with 3 consecutive losses on the road, and I'm just not sure I can see them getting anything from this game if Hull turn up for it. Score prediction for me, I'm going to go 2-0 to the Tigers on the road, which would surely be the final nail in the coffin for Manning. Next up we go to the Hawthorns for West Brom up against Sheffield Wednesday. West Brom really could do with a victory in this game after a couple of tough games on the road. What has become quite prevalent in their first 12 matches is that there's not been a bunch of high quality chances being created on average. West Brom are currently averaging just 1 goal per game, and having a bit of a deeper dig into the underlying numbers, West Brom have been the 3rd least creative side in the league so far this season, only ahead of Derby and Swansea in terms of those underlying attacking metrics. So this, I think, could be a bit of a banana skin match for West Brom, because Sheffield Wednesday are going to come, sit in, make it difficult for them. It's just a question of whether or not someone like a Price or a Johnson can pick the ball up at the edge of the box and smash it into the top corner, which they're more than capable of doing. For Sheffield Wednesday, they've obviously been hit by that 12-point deduction after administration was confirmed on Friday. Now means they're 16 points adrift of safety, and I think virtually seals their relegation to League One. I can't see them surviving from this point onwards, but if the club can find a new buyer between now and January, who knows what's possible from that point onwards. Score prediction for this game, it feels very low scoring. I'll just back West Brom ever so slightly for a 1-0 victory in that game, although a draw wouldn't surprise me, but I'll go 1-0 West Brom for that game. Next up to a big game at St Andrews for Birmingham up against Portsmouth. Both sides looking to bounce back from defeats over the weekend. It's now just 1 win in 6 for Birmingham, obviously. Sky high expectations for Blues at the start of the season. A big backing in the transfer market as well for Chris Davis. These next 3 games I think are going to be really decisive for him, because if Birmingham are going to go into this next November international break and still look quite a way off the pace for getting into the top 6 come the end of the season. Who knows, some difficult decisions might need to be made. Now, this is the sort of match where you would probably fancy Birmingham to dominate the ball and Pompey look to play on breaks and vulnerabilities there, which could suit them. But equally for Pompey, they've not really been much of a free-scoring outfit so far this season. In fact, it's two of the lowest scoring teams in the division going head-to-head with one another in this game. Portsmouth have obviously missed key attacking personnel throughout the season. Josh Murphy's not been 100% fit. Callum Lang, they've really missed, I think. I think the first goal in this game is going to be really important because I'm not sure either side has, 2 or 3 goals in them at the moment. Just with home advantage and me fancying them to have a bit more pressure in and around the Pompey box, I'll go for a 1-0 Birmingham win in that game. But once again, very marginal. Wouldn't be surprised if that ends level either. Next up to the Valley for Charlton up against Swansea. Both sides coming off the back of good results, in my opinion, over the weekend. Charlton getting that draw away at Hull with a late goal. That's certainly not to be sniffed at. And back at home for this game, they'll probably fancy their chances. They've only lost once in the league at home so far this season. And even that game that they lost against Leicester, I thought they got pretty unfortunate. They were arguably the better team in that game. Going up against the Swansea side, who did get back to winning ways over the weekend. A Zan Vapotnik brace was enough for Swansea to see off Norwich. Overall, I've still got a few question marks over Swansea, it has to be said. I mean, Vapotnik's in fine form right now. He scored 50% of the goals that Swansea have so far this season. But overall structure and underlying numbers do suggest that Charlton have been a better side than Swansea so far this season, and the league table would back that up as well. Also worth taking into consideration, Swansea are playing tonight in the EFL Cup against Manchester City, so Charlton will have a longer recovery for this game as well. And for that reason, I'm going to back them for a home win. Score prediction there, I'm going to go 2-0 Charlton. Next up, we go to Oxford up against Millwall. Gary Rowett against his former employers. A good win for Oxford last time out. I think a few people were fancying Sheffield Wednesday to get something from that game, especially with obviously the club going into administration and then packing that stadium out, getting a bumper crowd. But Oxford didn't let any of that pressure get to them, and it was a very professional performance in the end. They've been a little bit up and down recently, it has to be said. The last 4 results have gone loss, win, and this will be one of their toughest tests of the season so far. A Millwall side who are banging form right now. They've won their last 4 consecutive matches. Alex Neil's got them playing really well. They're coming off the back of a very good win over the weekend against Leicester. Could have been even more comfortable in that game had Ivanovic tucked away that penalty, but didn't matter in the end. And Millwall right now are keeping pressure on the top 2, aren't they? And it does have to be said that this isn't just a flash in the pan from Millwall either. During the calendar year of 2025, only Coventry have accumulated more points in the Championship than this Millwall side have, and their away record especially ranks them among some of the strongest sides we've seen in this division in recent years with how profitable they've been in these sorts of away matches. Now, Rowett against Millwall, Rowett against Alex Neil. A draw in this game would not surprise me whatsoever. But based on current form, I think I've just got to give the edge to Millwall. I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall on the road in that game. Next up, we go to Loftus Road for QPR up against Ipswich. Over the weekend, it was a bit of a game to forget from a QPR perspective. Lost 1-0 against Derby. They just never quite got going in that match. But at home against Ipswich, this one's an interesting matchup. We had Ipswich getting back to winning ways over the weekend with a much-needed 3 points against West Brom. Jack Clark coming off the bench in that game to score the winner shows the strength and depth that you've got when you've got a player as good as Jack Clark to come on as a second half substitute. I'm still yet to be massively convinced by an Ipswich away performance this season, it has to be said. They're still looking for their first away win of the season. QPR in recent weeks have been a little bit more up and down, and for that reason, I wouldn't be surprised if this one maybe ends level. Score prediction here, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between those two. Next up to a very interesting game down near the bottom of the table. We've got Sheffield United going up against Derby. Now, obviously, I saw Sheff United over a full 90 minutes on Friday night when they came to Deepdale, and bit of a mixed bag from their point of view. They found themselves 2 goals up, only to throw it away and lose 3-2. I think there was a few signs of mental fragility still showing throughout that performance, but equally, despite how disappointing it would have been from a Sheff United perspective to throw that game away, still a few shoots of positivity with the goals they scored and the fact that they have still taken 6 points from their last 3 matches, which isn't too bad of a return. Going up against the Derby side, who have finally found a little bit of form themselves. They've won back-to-back matches with those 2 1-0 home wins against Norwich and QPR. Looked like a much improved performance against Queen's Park Rangers. This game, though, does feel quite tight and feels like the first goal will be quite decisive, as it's been in Derby's last 3 matches now. Oh, honestly, I could see this one going either way. Like, we have seen Derby this season being quite resolute defensively in an away performance and just taking all 3 points with a bit of a smash and grab like they did away at West Brom. Wouldn't be surprised if this game unfolds like that, but on the balance of probabilities, I'd probably just edge it to Sheff United maybe. Score prediction, I'm going to go 1-0 Sheff United in that game, but I think it'll be tight. Next then to Southampton up against Preston, and North End really have an opportunity here to pile the pressure on Will Still. I honestly think if Southampton don't come out of these next 3 matches before the international break with a decent points return, I think that could be it for him. Southampton have got games against Preston, QPR, and Sheffield Wednesday before the next international break. If they don't take a minimum of 5, maybe 6 points from those next 3 matches, yeah, I think he'll be in a whole world of trouble. It was a bad loss for them last time away at Blackburn to lose that 1-2-1, having been leading for so much of the game. The tricky point with Southampton is that the underlying data does suggest that they will improve at some point, but they're just making so many individual mistakes at the moment. The squad isn't quite at full strength either. North End have to fancy our chances of going into this game and getting something from it. Now, from a Preston perspective, obviously a brilliant comeback last time at home against Sheffield United to win that game from 2-0 down, showed real character, but we are coming into this one with quite a few key injuries, especially in the injuries to Ali McCann and Lewis Gibson, 2 of our most crucial players in my opinion. Not having them does significantly weaken the spine of our team and does make me a little bit more wary that, especially in an away game like this where we probably won't have loads of the ball, we could make a few silly mistakes here or there. But things just haven't been falling for Southampton recently. I'm going to say this one will end level. I'll go for a 1-1 draw between Southampton and Preston. After that, to a playoff clash between Stoke City and Bristol City. Both sides picking up good results over the weekend. Stoke going away to Portsmouth and winning that 1-1-0. Bit of a statement result that in my opinion, and Bristol City beating Birmingham. There's not been much to separate these 2 sides in the table so far this season. Just 1 point currently separates them, with Bristol City sat in 4th and Stoke in 5th. We have said it a few times about Stoke on the channel recently. I do think if they're going to sustain a top 6 push this season, they're going to need to start creating, but probably more crucially, taking a few more of their chances. Like, they've only scored 13 goals in their first 12 matches. Compare that to Bristol City, who have scored 20 in their first 12. It does feel like Bristol City have a bit more in the final third about them. But defensively, Stoke have been absolutely excellent so far and don't tend to give much away to the opposition. Makes me think this sort of match is going to be quite tight. Bristol City are really good at playing on those counters, though, and pressing the opposition into mistakes. Score prediction for me here, I am going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between those 2 sides that I have really liked the look of so far this season for different reasons. And then we finished this batch of games off with Watford up against Middlesbrough. I think Watford going away to Coventry over the weekend was always going to be a very difficult game for them, but to be fair, I mean, they sort of shot themselves in the foot conceding those early goals, didn't they? But second half and going forward, despite being down to 10 men, actually gave a decent account of themselves, got into some really good areas and created some good chances. And had it not been for Carl Rushworth in net for Coventry, could have potentially got something from that game. I always see flashes of Watford over a 90-minute spell where I think, oh, this squad really could have something. It's just the individual mistakes they seem to be making defensively, which are really shooting them in the foot at the moment. You compare that to Middlesbrough, who haven't been as flashy at times maybe as, let's say, a Watford have been, but defensively they're just so resolute and don't give up that many opportunities to the opposition. Bit of a frustrating one for them in the league last time, obviously, playing out that 1-1 draw with Wrexham, but all things considered, it's still been an absolutely outstanding start to the season for Rob Edwards' side, with 25 points from their first 12 matches. I do think that if you catch Watford at the wrong time, they have the potential to blow you out the water with all the attacking players they have and combinations they can do in the final third. But because we've not really seen that consistently yet, I'm just going to edge Middlesbrough for a result in this game. Score prediction, I'll go 2-1 Middlesbrough on the road. But there you have it, guys. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to drop a like and get all your score predictions in the comments down below. Apart from that though, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.